promise. I'm almost at the end of these post-vacation recap things. Day 6 in Corfu is when we went to the main city, Corfu town, as they tend to call it. We started with, I don't even remember what we did in the morning, but we had lunch at the apartment, which was leftover pasta. And then we drove down to Corfu, which was about an hour drive, found a parking lot to just hole up in, and then we we wandered around town for a little while, ducked into a few souvenir shops. I found one questionable thing that was in more than one souvenir shop. It was...
Oh, just tourist shopping in Corfu, and any shop would be happy to find this. It's strange. This is so strange.
All I will say is, please don't put anything involving paint inside of you. Take that for what it's worth. In any case, we had a little bit of a mission that day as we were wandering around town. We knew we wanted to watch the France-Belgium game that was later that evening, and we wanted to try to find face paint so we could do flags on our faces. France, obviously, not Belgium. Come on. So we were kind of wandering around trying to find face paint, and I was on a mission to find a memory card. For once, I could find a memory card, and then I could actually start making memories instead of telling you about them later. And we eventually found both. We found one in like an arts and crafts shop, and the other in like a Fnac style Best Buy kind of thing. 32 gigs for like 15 euros. Not bad. And then kept on wandering a little bit. We found a church that we went into and had to like cover our shoulders really quick, light a candle inside of it. But the big story of this day was the restaurant that we went to for dinner. Now in Corfu town, it's kind of the most tourist centric thing that I should say, like, every place has their tourist draws, and a lot of places with like Greek food, but not really authentic Greek food. And then you can get like Italian food, which is actually spaghetti and meatballs, which is not really Italian. So a lot of things like McDonald's or stuff, things for people who are tourists that are just too picky of eaters. That wasn't good English. To, be adventurous. And so we were kind of wary of a lot of the places that we were seeing in town because they looked a little bit trappy. But Megan, bless her, has this sixth sense when it comes to good restaurants. We found one that was completely tucked out of like view of most like streets. But, and it was practically empty. I think there was only one other like couple in the restaurant when we went there. And, we basically just did this like mezze platter, which is kind of like the Mediterranean version of tapas. It's like a lot of little plates, and I don't even remember everything that we got. I think I have a clip of the meal.
This is your favorite. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, keep that here.
Wow, thank you.
Oh man.
C'est quoi là-bas?
So it's the cheese.
This looks incredible.
But there was like Greek salad, there was like meatballs, there was the two things that really shocked us were, and of course we got tzatziki, but the two things that that really shocked us were there was like this I don't want to say aubergine. I refuse to bend to the British way of speaking. Eggplant in this like rich tomato sauce, which was so good. It was like steamed and juicy. And then the other one were these huge, not even fava beans, they were bigger than that, like butter beans, but in French they're called like haricots géants, giant beans, in this like tomato sauce, and it was so good. It was surprisingly good, and I think we were just looking at each other being like, how did we keep finding these places? So good. And all of us were like, when we go back to Paris, we have to try to make these recipes, and we haven't done that yet, but maybe someday. And then we found a bar, I think it was an outside bar, to watch the France-Belgium match. They had like television screens under some pavilion tents. Poor Nisha, though, she has this thing about pigeons. They really freak her out, and there were pigeons just kind of wandering around the outside pavilion, but there were no seats inside, so we were sitting outside watching the match, and she was kind of going back and forth, like flittering away from the pigeons whenever they came too close. Poor girl. But again, France won, huzzah, and Amélie courageously drove us back. She hadn't been drinking that night, so it was okay for her to drive the twisty turnies. And I have no more notes for that, so that's what happened on day 6.